What's up, guys? It's Spiderwolf back for another JJKPhantomparade video. So today we're going to be talking about a couple events that are coming out later tonight, and also this brand new Nobara that's going to be coming out, as well as some other recollections, the usual stuff we do here, right? And of course, to answer your question, should you summon for this character? As what I'll probably say for the time being, for most of these characters, literally just pull if you want to, because now we do have currency to be able to transfer pity points over to the next banner or whatever banner you want to use. Also, would greatly appreciate it because you drop a like, comment, subscribe. I would really appreciate it. Trying to get 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year if possible, so let's see if we can all do it. But with that being said, let's into the rest of the video. So as you guys can see here, we got the Nobara here with the new recollection. I can't speak apparently. The new recollection bit here, which apparently it's a pretty good one. So another good one, which is pretty cool. We also have Toji rerunning. He is now coming back. So if you guys were interested in pulling for Toji, which honestly, I wouldn't, I wouldn't blame because they did want to pull for Toji at least because he is really good. So, definitely a good pickup there. And then we have a new map event, which is usually the map event. They do the bosses and stuff like that. You got a free multi as well, most likely. And then of course the new recollection bit as well. Free to play one. That one's not as good, sadly, but it is what it is. We also have another imaginary realm battle as well, which gives cubes and other stuff. Probably standard banner tickets as well. So maybe one free multi on a standard banner, which is kind of cool. And then on the tier list here, all right, and so we have the tier list here, which it looks like it got updated actually again, so it's pretty interesting. So we have the new Jogo, or the Jogo with his buffs. He's up in SS tier. Red Nobara is here. Maki is here now because I think she was an S tier, but now she's an SS tier. And then Blue Gojo got brought down, which is pretty interesting. And then I'm pretty sure Mei was an S tier thing, but I think she got bumped up to S tier or SS tier now. So very interesting. So apparently these are the better blue characters now, and then Blue Gojo finally got bumped down, which makes sense because he's kind of old. But there's a good chance that whenever he does get his buffs, he's gonna skyrocket back up to SS tier, most likely, right? Which I think is a good way to go about it, making older characters a lot more valuable and more, useful, right? Or viable, I should say, not really valuable. And then we have support here as well. Looks like it's still the same for the most part. And then specialist looks like it's still the same. So yeah, more so we're just bringing the DPS characters in the DP version. But anyways, what we're here for is Green Nobara. So she's S tier. She's an S tier green DPS. So honestly, not too bad, right? Pretty good. But of course we have some other ones in SS tier, like we have Purple Hole Gojo, which makes sense. Then we have Megumi, who should be coming out right around, like, I think he should be coming out in the next 2 weeks, actually. Yeah, I think this Megumi should be coming out in the next 2 weeks. So we should probably be seeing this guy very soon. Now, I don't know if he's here because he has maybe buffs or because he's just here because he's just that good on release, but just have to keep that in mind. But yeah, let's take a look at this Nobara. So keep hammering at the Nobara. So she's 50-50 Taijutsu and Jutsu, but she scales more into Jujutsu, or Cursed Energy. So her first skill here, Hammer Strike, level 1, deals melee combined damage equal to 30% Taijutsu and 70% Jutsu. So as we just saw, way more leaning to Jutsu side, but she still does both, or uses both. And increases the enemy's Taijutsu recede by 2.5% on 5 turns, which is actually quite long. Then at level 10, we're looking at 49 physical or Taijutsu, and then 115 Jutsu, and then increased Taijutsu damage received by 5% for 5 turns, which is kind of decent. At level 8, we're looking at 4.6%, and then 45 Taijutsu, and then 105 Jutsu. So decent numbers. This damage increases isn't too crazy, but since it's 5 turns, you can stack this up multiple times, I'm assuming, which means this could easily stack up to around 20% increased Taijutsu damage received, at least at level 8. At level 10, you're looking at like 25, I think, 25, which is still pretty big. All right, so skill 2 here, Nail Hammering, costs 15 Cursed Energy, deals range combined damage equal to 55 Taijutsu and 90 Jujutsu, so a bit less, I think, right? No, more, it's a bit more. To select enemy, 2 hits, so this is a single target, so both skill 1 and skill 2 are single target. And increases selected enemy's Jutsu damage received by 10% for 2 turns, so of course, just like their overall damage works, leans way more to the Jujutsu side, right? So here she's increasing their Jutsu damage received. The downside is, though, that it's only for 2 turns, right? But like at level 10, though, we're looking at 90% Taijutsu and then 148 Jujutsu. However, now the damage received for Jutsu to enemies is now 16.5 for 2 turns, which is going to be a lot more damage. Basically, they're going to be taking, right? Basically, double this amount, which is actually quite huge. Granted, you're going to use that. You're only going to be able to use this on the second turn when this is applied, but that's still very nice. So you may want to probably, if you do use this Nobara, you probably want to have her in slot 2 or 3, so that way the DPS can like take advantage of this increased Jujutsu damage received. But yeah, so far pretty good, not too bad. I mean, it's not massive, right? But it's still nice buffs, right? Or debuffs to the enemy, so not too bad. Skill 3 here. Consecutive strikes cost 20% energy at level 1. Deals a range combined damage equal to 70% Taijutsu and then 120 Jujutsu and to selected enemies or selected enemy. So all of her skills are single target. And increases her own damage dealt by 20% for 2 turns, which is actually quite big. And then I also want to go back to skill 2 real quickly, just to see level 8 here. So level 8, it's 82 to Taijutsu, 135 Jujutsu, and then 14.9 increased Jujutsu damage received. Okay, that's not too bad. Level 8, not as good as 16.5, but it usually it doesn't differentiate too greatly between level 8 and level 10. Anyways, going back to skill 3 here, if we go up to level 10, we're looking at now 115 Taijutsu and 197 Jujutsu to select the enemy, which is quite nice actually. And then the increased own damage dealt is still the same, so it's only 20. Okay, so you're only getting more damage off of skill 3, so you probably could just leave this at level 8 if you really wanted to, and then max level it later if you just want to do a little bit more damage on skill 3. Okay, now ultimate here, Straw Doll Technique Resonance. I feel like one of her other ultimates literally called the same thing. At level 1, she deals 800 Jujutsu damage to second enemy, so specifically on a Jujutsu. So if you just wanted to run like a Jujutsu recollection bit, that'd probably be really good. Or you could also run the adult time, which would work fine because that one just boosts general damage. So that one would be a pretty good option too. And she deals soul damage. That's interesting. I don't know exactly what that means, but this maybe means like against some character's soul damage will be more significant for the damage. Like if maybe you're fighting like enemy on Mahito or something. And then at level 10, she's dealing 1,318 Jujutsu damage to the select enemy. So all her stuff is single target, so she's pretty good against bosses. And overall, her leveling ultimate would just make her do more damage, which makes sense, right? Because it is a damaging ultimate. Why? I guess in some cases, yes, it's a support character, right? It'd be a little bit different. But anyways, her combo effect here, so she deals combined damage, and then she increases her own and the allies' Jutsu damage by 7.5 for 6 turns. It's actually kind of decent. And then, of course, fills up everybody else's ultimate gauge. And then she has a couple auto skills here. So weakening Jutsu attack. At the start of battle, increases own Taijutsu and Jujutsu stats by 20%. Okay, that's kind of nice. And the more debuffs and statuses the enemy has, the greater the Jujutsu and Taijutsu stat, up to 260%. What the heck? She's gonna be able to get herself a 260, potentially 260 Jujutsu and Taijutsu damage buff. That is really massive. That means she's gonna be doing a lot of damage basically once you start stacking up a bunch of debuffs on the enemy. Debuffs and statuses without a turn or time limit will not be counted. So yeah, so that's also why she has a lot of stuff that's like 5 turns, 2 turns. So basically you just keep stacking that up. You're gonna probably be able to reach this fairly quickly, hopefully, unless it's like some weird requirement that's like way too much, but I'd assume it'd probably be like a reasonable amount that you'll be able to achieve. Actually, on another auto skill here, Zone Outburst. When Black Flash is performed, which is basically a crit, grants increased Jujutsu stat special to self for 6 turns, which it looks like. Oh, and also she recovers her own curse energy by 15. And then basically it looks like what the buff does, that increases her Jujutsu by 45% for 6 turns. So yeah, this Nobara has the potential to be doing some crazy numbers. The one downside is though that she does need a little bit of build up to reach that, but it's fine because most characters can kind of go follow that same route of like needing a lot of time to be built up before they can do the big damage. But yeah, pretty good. Yeah, pretty good Nobara. So yeah, if you guys get her, she's a really good green DPS. Really good. Now going to the tier list for the recollections, of course. So we have this new one here with Geto, just chilling on the beach here or whatever, if you guys know. It's a mixed damage one, which makes sense because she's mixed damage. And it's a SST one. It's really good. So we'll take a look at that in a second. And then we also have the free-to-play one in the event itself. And it's the one with Toji here, or not Toji, with Todo, my bad. I was good. I didn't get a little confused there. This one isn't as good, sadly. This one is a B tier one, so we'll take a look at that one as well, but it's not that crazy. So let's see what this one does. So it's called Cursed Spirit Beach, but it may be called a slightly different name in the game. So it's exactly 50-50 on both. Well, technically 29-29, but no same thing. So the first skill here, when ultimate is activated, so specifically the ultimate, increase own damage by 70% for 1 turn 1 time, only for green type characters. Okay, so almost very similar to adult time. Okay, and then skill 1 here, when you have 1 dupe at the start, or my bad, I guess skill 2, but basically you just don't have 1 dupe in it. You get another thing unlocked here. At the start of the turn, if own HP is 50% or below, increases own curse energy consumption efficiency by 2 turns. So I'm assuming what this means is that if there's a skill that, like for Nobara, right? Like say skill 2 here costs 15 curse energy. What I'm assuming this is saying is that it's gonna maybe mean like, oh, instead of a skill costing 15 curse energy, maybe now it'll only cost like 5 or 9 curse energy instead, right? I'm assuming this is probably what that means, so she can basically, like, for her or any other green DPS characters, they can spam these other skills a lot easier because it won't cost as much curse energy. But it's only for 2 turns, though, so you can only take advantage of that for 2 turns. But it's still not too bad. Not a damage buff, but still not a bad thing. Now, if you have it with 3 dupes, you're now getting an 85 increased own damage dealt for 1 turn 1 time, which is a very, very massive. And I think that's more than adult time, actually, because I think adult time is only 75. Yeah, it's only 75, so that's like 10 more than adult time. So that's a very, very strong. Of course, the one caveat though is that it's only for green type attack characters, but overall the damage buff is very strong. So with Nobara, this is going to be doing great numbers, and then with someone like Purple Hole Gojo, of course, if we go back to tier list, he's going to be taking a full advantage of that because he's going to be able to do a lot of damage. The one downside though is that I guess you don't get the crit rate because adult time gives you some crit rate, but at the same time, you know, if you're getting 85 damage dealt, I think that's probably better, right? Then again, you could just, I'm assuming Purple Hole Gojo will probably run the other one, the non-standard recollection bit anyways, so I don't think it really matters too much there. But just something to keep in mind though. I mean, if there's any, I don't know who else could maybe use it. Probably like Mekumaru here could probably use it, or the. Actually, no, Maki couldn't really use it. I mean, she could like, it is damage though, so she would get the buff. It's just that she wouldn't really be able to really use the other 50% of the Jujutsu damage there, which kind of sucks. But everything else should be able to use it for the most part. At least when she does her ultimate, right? Anyways, overall, very good recollection. If you guys do get it, it's very good. Yeah, very nice. Very good recollection. And now we have the other one here, the free-to-play one. Iototo's Youth Minerals. So, the first skill here, when command skill ultimate is activated, increase own damage by 15% for 2 turns, only for green characters, so it's decent, not too bad, I guess. It has a 9-turn cooldown though, which is a little rough. And then we have 1 dupe in it. At the start of each wave, increase all enemies type Jutsu damage received by 10% for 3 turns, and increase all enemies Jutsu damage received by 10% for 3 turns. Only for green characters though. That's actually not too bad, because that basically means that they're going to be taking, you know, 10% more damage to both of these for 3 turns, which is kind of decent actually. Of course, the downside is that's only for green characters, but or like only green characters can take advantage of this, but it's still pretty good. Plus, it's at the start of each wave, so honestly, kind of a decent recollection, but for that. And then we have of course 3 dupes into it. Now you're getting a 20% damage dealt for 2 turns. So the damage dealt a little bit on the weaker side, but the debuff that does apply to the enemies is actually kind of decent. It's not too bad. Not too bad. But with that being said though, that's kind of it. So with that being said, good luck with your guys' summons for the, you know, for the Nobara. If you guys are able to get her or the recollection bit, either one's pretty good. But with that being said, I'm heading out, and I'll probably see you guys for, if you guys are here for the JJK stuff, for the news video for the upcoming content in the next 2 weeks, right? But with that being said, I'm heading out. Peace, and take care, everybody.